Here along this fertile strip, the ancestors of the ancient Egyptians settled. Stone Age men full of superstition and magic, with the sun and moon and hawks and bulls and apes and cats for their gods. Slowly they learned to control their land, to work together in draining the marshes of the Nile and irrigating the valleys. To capture and to hold the rich waters meant constant, back-breaking work. But they did it and made for themselves a kind of paradise. They settled all the way from the Mediterranean to the highlands of Upper Egypt. They were all dependent upon the Nile, whose yearly rhythm of ebb and flood sustained them and permeated their thought. And after many hundreds of years, they were united. The crowns of two kings became one, and the long history of the ancient Egyptian properly began. The unremitting sun, the deserts which surrounded him like a fortress and made him feel secure, and the river Nile, these were the main factors in the life of the ancient Egyptian, especially the Nile. For along its banks, everything grew rich and green. From the beginning, the Egyptian himself seems to have loved life and the world around him. He was a materialistic man, industrious and practical. To him, what was useful was good. He became a skillful mathematician. He devised the first 365-day calendar. And in the antique world, he was famous as a medical man. His land was rich in gold and copper, and especially in building stone. And with this stone, although he did not have wheels or pulleys, he built structures that seemed to promise to stand into eternity. In his religion, there were many remnants of his Stone Age past. But it is wrong to think that the ancient Egyptian worshipped the animals and animal-headed beings that he carved and painted with such skill and beauty. He simply believed that from time to time, the gods might be pleased to inhabit these sacred beasts. During what is called the Old Kingdom, which lasted from 2700 BC down to 2000 BC, the Pharaoh was all-powerful, and the good of the kingdom and of all men depended upon him. Around 2100 BC, his kingdom collapsed in civil wars. The Pharaoh, as god-king, lost his absolute power and never afterwards regained it. The royal tombs were ransacked and robbed. And from this time on, royal burials were done in secret, in tombs hidden in the cliffs of the Nile Valley. Then, even the surrounding deserts proved to be no protection. An Asiatic people called the Hyksos invaded Egypt and conquered it with the horse and the war chariot, neither of which the Egyptians had ever seen. Once he had driven the Hyksos out, the Egyptian took the war chariot and the horse and set out to recover his proud position in the world. The peoples of Nubia and the Sudan, and he fought his way eastward into Asia as far as the valley of the Euphrates. By the 16th century BC, he had established a vast empire. Things changed radically, yet the Egyptian's decorative art changed very little. As he had done from the beginning, he continued to carve and to paint in the same styles and in amazing detail the life he loved and believed he would enjoy forever. The Egyptian empire fell to a series of conquerors, First the Assyrians, then the Babylonians, and after them in 525 BC, the Persians. Then in 332 BC, the Greeks under Alexander, and finally the Romans. Under each of his conquerors, the Egyptian held tightly to his past and continued to worship his gods and to build temples. The long years of his grandeur were over. But in those years, he had made a vast contribution to civilization and to the culture of the world.